हमने काफी कुछ we have already gone through, like in genetics. We had seen the Mendelian genetics, and we tried understanding the different terms used in Mendelian genetics. Yeah, classical genetics. But later on, the terms, the terminology has changed a bit as per like now when Mendel was studying these things, and the people who recognized Mendel when they started studying the genetics as a subject of their research, then they could see there were terms called factors. Factors. What are they? Factors are something which some we do not know. It was an abstract thing at that time to nomenclate something which is not known to us. A factor. A factor was responsible, which makes a progeny almost similar to its parents. So that was there. It was studied, and then it was termed as allele, and the allelomorph. It's called in a similar way. And Mendel assumed that if they exist in two or in pair, then only the possibility of uh, yes, th- then only the possibility of expression of characters is possible. So the expression is like displayed or seen and observed. So that way, um, Mendel has mentioned few. He could concluded. He could conclude. I mean, few of the principles, doctrines, which can be used in every explanation of genetical processes. So we know that हमने देखा कि it was a law of dominance, law of segregation, and law of independent assortment. I think हमने जो last classes में when we discussed, we could understand what exactly these principles are, right? Hayana, Hayana, you all don't respond so easily. So ये कुछ slides थी किसी और का presentation है. I'm using it, but it was okay. It was uh, made to understand in a different way. When you have come to the college, you need to have a habit of listening to the lectures, the speeches. The lecturer is nothing. He is not a teacher exactly. He's a lecturer, right? That means he delivers lectures. He delivers lectures on the topics related to your syllabus. So those topics you need to make notes out of his or her lecture. So after school, you come to a stage where you make your own notes after listening to the lectures. So a lecture is a bit different, but still we behave as teachers only. We give you notes. We tell you in a different. We do not usually go out of the syllabus to tell you something, but I try to. I always try to tell you something which is related, which is not in syllabus. This is the out of box sort of information. I enjoy it, and you also should have an habit of getting these things into your awareness. Anyways, so you all know who Mendel was and what he did. See, right? And these are some milestones, like genetics and who coined, what is this? These were the three, these three scientists. They have recognized Mendel's work, because Mendel's work was not recognized at earlier days when he went to University of Bonn, but he wasn't recognized. His work was, his observations were treated as of no significance or no value. But later, these three guys, they have recognized his work, and they have given him so much of credit that he has been called as father of genetics. So you must see you may be seeing the screen is visible, right? So the term genetics, it was coined by William Bateson, sorry, and then the gene was coined by Johansson. You must have come across these two names, William Bateson and Johansson. And now this will be like a question for you all to get about these guys, to get the information about these two guys in our next class. Okay, what Bateson did along apart from giving the name genetics, and what Johansson has done apart from giving or coining the name as gene. So it's all like that. We have already gone through it, and what allele is. Even I tried explaining what allele is like, and the allele which has been identified as allele in earlier days was nothing but the Mendel's factor. Factor means something which is there in parents, which has been transforming, which has been passed on to next generation progeny, which we call as inheritance. It's been inherited to the next generation. But what is that factor? And the assumption of Mendel explained it. It's a pair of alleles, a pair of alleles. So we you must have understood what alleles is now, and what are traits, what are characters, what are factors. Factors was nothing but something which were not known earlier, so they were termed, and they were termed later as a pair of alleles. And these pair of alleles, they exhibit some character. So the exhibition of character can be sometimes completely dominant and sometimes completely recessive, which is not which is not significant. So that significant which makes it make itself uh, expressed frequently was termed as the dominant character, and the character which usually does not express itself, but sometimes intermittently or very like once in a blue moon sort of in nature, they express themselves. That was termed as recessive, because people have started studying later in the scientific era. They could know even if the pair of alleles have one dominant character representation and one recessive character representation, still there's the expression phenotypically or the externally when you see the character, it's been expressed as per to one of the alleles, and that allele which always expresses itself even if it is not in a pair condition, that was termed as dominant, and that usually the frequency of expression of that particular character is more, so we call it dominant. And which has got very rare and very, sorry, conditional type of expression, conditional type of pairing, then only it can express itself, so we call it as recessive character. So allele is a part which is there in the living cell of the parents, and character is the thing which is visible phenotypically. So a character can be dominant and character can be recessive, as I say. And these dominant and recessive characters are together, they are called traits. I suppose it's been there somewhere in the slide. Yeah, see the trait. Height is the trait, but tall and dwarf are two characters, right? So that way, and tall is dominant, and uh, sorry, the dwarfness is recessive. So that way, you must have the idea must be clear in your mind. The trait is a type of character which includes both the dominant of expression, dominant way of expression, right? Somebody has come with some presentation. What is that? Something has gone wrong. कोई message आ रहा बीच में. What is that? See, it's saying it's running out of time. It's been 40 minutes, and the session will be over. Anyways, we are still in the way of adjusting ourselves Planning alternate about to upgrade it. So now we would discuss only on one more aspect. What after Mendel, when people have started getting to know about the inheritance in exactly how it has been done and how it has been carried out in next generation. So that way, people have come up with many of the phenomena, many of the occurrences, many of the processes which were not earlier mentioned, in which all the genes, all the alleles, all the characters, all the traits which follow the Mendelian principles, and those who do not follow the Mendelian principles. In some cases, they have observed. In some cases, they have observed that sometimes these characters, these traits do not follow the Mendelian inheritance of laws of Mendelian inheritance. So that way, what happens? They started calling them. This is non-Mendelian inheritance. It's not following the Mendelian principles. So anyways, then they started finding out the reasons why it's not been done. Like then there existed, there came up different phenomena like epistasis, codominance, complete dominance, incomplete dominance, and complete epistasis. Epistasis is masking. Dominance is, dominance is simple term. When something is dominant, it will express itself. That is dominance. When the two characters, now you understand what trait is, what characters are. So when both the characters are responsible for a trait and they both express themselves by existing in pair of alleles, so that is the codominance. We would see a few of the examples, and then came that codominance and the incomplete dominance, when some of the if the both the alleles or both the characters related alleles in pair are dominant, but one is weaker one. So the complete dominant characters are not visible in the progeny. So that is called incomplete dominance. And epistasis is simply masking. One is dominant and it's masks the effect of the other one. So it's almost as it's following the Mendelian principles. But when we go into the genetical aspects, the genotype, when we study the genotype, then we come to know, okay, this is something else. Outside phenotypically, we could see it's following the Mendelian principles, but it is not following it exactly. In some cases, then arose the question of incomplete epistasis. Yeah, oh sorry, dominant epistasis and recessive epistasis. We would go through these terms, and anyways, and then another aspect came, like for some traits and the expression of characters, there are multiple genes, polygenic effects. The multiple genes affect the expression of that particular trait as as different characters, either dominant or the recessive. So that way also we need to go through all these things, all these aspects, all these terms, and of course the the session which we started saying it will be over by 5 minutes. Anyways, we would conclude it here. Give us some time, like to revise thing. Maybe the college is buying a G suit. If at all we get a G suit, then this problems will not exist. We would handle everything through Google only. Anyways, I don't know how long it will take to get it materialized. Anyways, we hope for the best. Otherwise, because my desktop is giving trouble, because by mobile I cannot handle all the presentations and all. In my desktop, the Chrome is not working. One day it works, the other day it says it's on. Like I get the notifications, but the page cannot be displayed. It says, oops, something is wrong. And it keeps on saying that. So like, I need to change the Explorer. Now I'm doing it on the Edge, Microsoft Explorer. It's running okay, but many of the Google Meets features are not working on Explorer. So there was a mismatching of this is very bad. Actually, they are doing some mischief. This Google, this Microsoft, and all. Anyways, if we this is provoking us to get into the G Suite. G Suite is a big program in which all the teachers will be included with the Gmail IDs, and they would be like allowed to handle everything. Everything will be handled in a very smooth way because they charge for every teacher. They charge. So let's hope the thing clicks up. Anyways, I'll put what I have to put now. I have to put the attendance link. Stop sharing. Sharing is stopped. Okay. Where would I find the chat? One sec. Yeah, I'm sending. So now you all can place your attendance and may leave for today's. We'll again meet on a next class. Thank you very much.